Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. It's lovely to speak to you again, City Church, and we are going to unpack some scripture together today. We're going to dive right in to where we left off last week in the book of Romans, and we're going to look at chapter 8, starting from verse 18. So I'm going to read that to you. The writer to the Romans, Paul, says this: "For I consider that the sufferings of the present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us. For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to corruption and obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until now. And not only the creation, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for adoption as sons, the redemption of our bodies. For in this hope we are saved. Now hope that is seen is not hope, for who hopes for what he sees? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience." Now we start off here again like last week, having to remind ourselves of the story that is sitting under this passage. And the same story that we saw in the previous verses in Romans is subtly under what is expressed in these verses. It's the story of the Exodus from the Old Testament. And Paul wants us to see again that the classic, the foundational Jewish tale really, the tale of rescue from slavery, that tale extends even beyond the incredible events of Egypt and the Red Sea and the journey to the Promised Land, and starts to creep into other aspects of humanity and human history. And it's not just God's people who were enslaved in Egypt, and it's not just ourselves before we come to know Jesus who were enslaved. You see, zooming out, in this passage, Paul reveals to us that the whole cosmos has, in some sense or another, been in chains or bondage. The universe is enslaved. Now pause a second. Let us consider slavery. I wonder what images come to your mind. We could think of Israel in Egypt. We could think of the cruelty of Pharaoh, the beating of the Israelites, the chanting, "Make more bricks," the evil attempts to control the population through childbirth, the slaughter of the young males. Or our minds could turn to another slavery image. We could think of colonial slavery, the transport of thousands, millions of Africans to the colonies, the exploitation, the mistreatment, the legacy of centuries of racism that has ensued from that oppression, the discrimination that we see even now, the discrimination that finds itself structurally in society and even within the church nowadays. We could think of those images and types and forms of slavery, and then we could jump back into this text and think of Paul's analogy of slavery here. And then we see that it's applied not only to Christians, to humans. It's not only applied in a physical human sense, but it's now being applied to the universe, which is in slavery. The sun, the moon, the stars, the rivers, the cliffs, the valleys, the mountains have joined us in bondage. They are contained, they are shut in, they are locked down, or to use Paul's phrase, they are subject to futility. You see, it's not only humans who live in cycles of hope followed by despair, or abundant life followed by deathliness, or great beauty together with appalling ugliness. Creation experiences this too. Why do we need to know this as Christians? Well, firstly, it helps us to understand suffering, or at least, if not to understand it, to put suffering in its rightful place. Paul starts this very section inviting us to consider suffering, and when he talks about that, he's not talking about any light thing. Later on in the passage, he will talk about tribulation, disease, persecution, famine, and sword. So this is no mere mild, trifling difficulty. But Paul encourages us to regard these things as not worth comparing to the glory about to be revealed. You see, suffering can cause you to narrow down, to lose a wide angle vision, and to focus on self. But the Christian knows that suffering is but one chapter in a bigger story. It's a mark and a feature, if you will, of what theologians have sometimes called the era of overlap that we live in, where the old creation is still present, but the new creation has burst upon it, and there is an overlap. We live in that era. And that idea of an overlap is not just a comforting tale that I tell myself to help me out when things are a little tough. It's meant to be bigger than that. It's meant to be the story of galaxies and stars and the sun and the moon. It's meant to give us a wide angle vision on the whole of cosmic history. And it's meant to lead you, as Paul will finish this passage, to hope. And secondly, we need to know why creation is groaning, because we need to see how complete one day God's creative work of redemption is going to be. He's not just planning to whisk us off to a penthouse in the sky. I hope you see that. He's not just planning to whisk us off to a luxury hotel out of harm's way while the rest of the universe, while the rest of creation and the earth goes to hell in a handcart. That's not that Christian faith. That's not the Christian story. It's much better news than that. God will restore all things one day. All things. And I'm struck over again on reading passages like this, how this kind of way of seeing reality, how biblical orthodox way of seeing the renewal of creation as opposed to heaven and pie in the sky when you die, how that vision of eschatology, of the end times, makes sense. How truly it resonates with all my inner yearnings, not just for me and to be safe and secure and happy, but for the whole universe to be put right. All things to be brought into rightness, into alignment, into flourishing and goodness. To borrow a C.S. Lewis phrase, C.S. Lewis says, I believe in the sun, not just because I see it, because by it I see. And this version of what will happen one day is beautiful, not just because it's good, but because it makes sense of what is happening in the here and now. By these kind of passages in the Bible, we see God's glorious plan for all things resonates with some of our unexpressed, perhaps, hunches about what should truly happen to the world. And this leads us to consider how we might live lives that participate in this cosmic story. and the theologian N.T. Wright suggests that this passage should reorient our perspective on three discrete things. This passage should make us rethink ecology, justice, and aesthetics. Let me explain. It should make us rethink ecology because Christians must be now on the forefront of bringing a foretaste of God's full healing of the planet. It makes us rethink justice because Christians must not revert to concentrating on individual justification at the expense of a wider, more expansive putting things to rights in the future, but also in the here and now. And it makes us think of aesthetics and rethink aesthetics, because if the world is to obtain beauty and dignity in God's new order one day, well, why not start now by creating beauty? And finally, let's note what creation is groaning for in this passage. Verse 19, creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God. And verse 21, in hope that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to corruption and obtain the freedom of the glory of the people of God. One day creation will have freedom because God's children have glory. When you one day stand before Jesus and are shown to be faithful, shown to trust in him, shown to be made right by his goodness, shown to be a son or daughter by his adoption, shown to be beloved, shown to be accepted, shown to be brought in by his cross and resurrection, when all that good, amazing, wonderful stuff is revealed on that final day, then creation, the sun, the moon, stars, rivers, seas, coral reefs, icebergs, neutron stars, asteroid belts, dark matter, whales, tigers, ants, elephants, volcanoes, thunderclouds, then they will truly be free. May that cause you to worship this week, City Church. May that call you to trust and obedience in Jesus. And may God bless you and keep you this week and forevermore. Amen.